Today we're taking a slightly different approach to John Irving's massive novel, The Cider House Rules.
That's right, we're trying something new.
Discover a new in-depth approach to book coverage with this extended summary. Now, unlike our previous reviews, which often offer really focused single-point analysis, this feature is meant to be a comprehensive overview.
We're tracing the intellectual roots, the key arguments, and the real-world impact.
Exactly. So if you appreciate this expanded format, please let us know. Your feedback is really going to help shape what we do next.
Okay, let's get into it.
So I want to start with a question for you. What happens when the rules you grew up with just completely conflict with the moral choices that reality throws at you? You know, when the written law forces good people to operate in secret or even puts them in danger?
That tension, that's the absolute core of the book we're diving into today, The Cider House Rules. It's written by the American novelist John Irving and first published back in 1985. It's a huge, sprawling story.
And it's more than just plot. People often describe it as a Bildungsroman, a coming-of-age story, but also as a really powerful social issues novel. It's got this unflinching realism about life in mid-20th century New England.
Precisely. And for anyone listening who wants to get the intellectual weight of the book quickly, what you're experiencing is a unique two-host AI conversation powered by Google's Notebook LM, designed for these deeper, more dynamic summaries.
Our mission today is to trace the journey of the main character, Homer Wells, as his life pulls him between two very different places in Maine.
St. Cloud's Orphanage and the Ocean View Orchards.
And the whole story is set against this backdrop of huge social tension around reproductive rights, which sets up the central paradox right from the start. So we have to begin at St. Cloud's.
Right. St. Cloud's is this institution deep in rural Maine. It's operating before, during, and after World War II, and it's basically got a double life, all run by its founder, Dr. Wilbur Larch.
On the one hand, it's a home for abandoned kids.
But on the other, it's a secret illegal clinic.
And the purpose of that clinic is really the heart of Irving's whole argument. Dr. Larch is performing abortions, which are safe, but criminal.
That's right. Larch is a lot of things. He's a skilled obstetrician, a philanthropist, and also an ether addict. But his philosophy is what defines him. He has this deep conviction that because abortion is illegal, desperate women are going to seek out dangerous back-alley procedures.
So his logic is basically harm reduction. He operates in secret, providing these safe terminations because he believes he's preventing a much greater harm, even if it means he's a criminal.
Exactly. He sees the lives he saves through delivering babies and the lives he protects through safe termination as two sides of the same coin. They're both necessary acts of medicine to him.
He's a walking paradox, then, a kind of saint who is breaking the law every single day, but he's totally dedicated to this idea of being of use.
If a rule is useless or if it causes pain, he just ignores it.
Which brings us to Homer Wells.
Yes, Homer.
Homer is the orphan who keeps failing his adoptions. Foster families keep sending him back for one reason or another. He's too quiet, he's too attached. And eventually, he just accepts that St. Cloud's is his home.
And Dr. Larch basically adopts him, in a way. He starts training Homer in obstetrics and gynecology from a really young age.
So Homer becomes this incredibly skilled apprentice.
He is. He helps Larch with everything. Deliveries, medical routines, you name it. He's crucial to keeping the place running.
But, and this is the critical tension, despite all that training, Homer refuses, on principle, to perform abortions himself.
Yes. He'll witness them, he'll assist Larch by prepping the patient, but he will not be the one to do the procedure.
That refusal is everything, isn't it? It sets up his whole moral code. He's insulated inside St. Cloud's, where the only rules that matter are kindness and necessity, not the laws of the state.
Right. The wider world, even something as huge as World War II, is just something he hears about from a distance.
So you have this foundation laid, but then, of course, the outside world has to come crashing in. How does that happen?
It arrives in the form of a young, wealthy couple, Candy Kendall and her boyfriend, Wally Worthington. They're from this apple orchard community, and they come to St. Cloud's because Candy needs an abortion.
And when they meet Homer, Wally is just blown away by him.
Yeah, he's struck by Homer's intelligence and his quiet competence, so he makes him an offer, an invitation that pulls Homer right out of Larch's world.
He invites him to leave the orphanage and come work at the Ocean View Orchards.
And that's the major turning point. The shift from the clinical world of the orphanage to the seasonal, labor-driven world of the apple business.
And Dr. Larch, I mean, he must be so conflicted.
He is. He lets Homer go because he knows the young man needs to see the world. But in his mind, Homer is his true successor.
So even as Homer is leaving, Larch is already plotting his return.
Oh, absolutely. Larch begins this long, elaborate deception. He starts faking documents, medical school degrees, residency certificates, everything, all designed to legally present Homer as a qualified physician who can take over when he's gone.
So the moment Homer gets to the orchard, the lies start piling up. First, Wally enlists in the military for World War II.
Right. And in his absence, Homer and Candy's friendship, it deepens. It becomes a long-term, secret romantic relationship.
Which, of course, results in Candy getting pregnant again.
And she gives birth to their son, Angel. And this is where the web of lies becomes central to the whole story.
To hide Angel's real parentage, they agree to this huge secret. They tell everyone that Angel is an adopted orphan, specifically Homer's adopted son.
So Homer gets to be a loving, present father, but the story they tell the world is a complete fiction. It's a choice based on practical necessity, which it kind of mirrors Larch's own choices, doesn't it?
Doing something dishonest for what you see as a greater good, protecting the family, protecting the child.
Exactly. It shows that even in this clean, wealthy world of the orchards, people are living by their own code that contradicts the official rules.
You know, if you appreciate this kind of deep narrative tracing, I want to briefly mention our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments. It offers AI book analysis, summaries, and critiques that really get into themes like this, the ethics of necessity, moral compromise. It's also, I think, really valuable for aspiring authors who want to look at narrative structure.
Definitely. So back at the orchard, years go by, and the tension just skyrockets when Wally finally returns from the war.
And his return it's tragic. He survived, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. But there's a specific detail about his injury that's critical to the lie about Angel.
It is. The injury leaves Wally sterile. He can't have biological children.
Which, in a dark way, solidifies the whole deception.
It does. Wally and Candy get married, and the fact that he's sterile makes the adopted son story completely plausible to everyone.
So you have this tense, but also loving triangle. Homer, Candy, and Wally all coexisting. Homer keeps working at the orchard, he keeps up his secret affair with Candy, and their life is built on this lie, but it functions.
It does. And then the story's focus shifts a bit to the community that actually keeps the whole orchard running.
The migrant workers.
Yes, the seasonal workers who harvest the apples. Many of them are black, and they all live in this dormitory called the Cider House.
And this is where the title of the book gets its real meaning. The Cider House Rules. It's not just a name, it's a whole critique of rules themselves.
Absolutely. So inside the Cider House, there's this list of rules posted on the wall, about cleanup, noise, smoking. But the great irony is that most of the workers can't read.
Including their own foreman, Mr. Rose.
Right. So the rules are they're unreadable law. They exist, they represent the owner's authority, but they're completely irrelevant to the people they're supposed to govern. They have their own informal set of rules, their own code.
A system based on practice, not on some words on a wall they can't even read.
And Homer sees this right away. He thought he'd left that kind of hypocrisy behind, but the orchards have their own complex web of ignored rules.
We should probably also mention Melanie, another character from St. Cloud's. Her life goes in a totally different direction from Homer's.
Yes. Melanie was Homer's first girlfriend at the orphanage. She's tough, tenacious. And after Homer leaves, she heads out into the world, and it is not kind to her. She survives a brutal assault.
And she becomes this hard-edged, independent woman, an electrician, enters a lesbian relationship, but she never stops looking for Homer.
Her story is crucial because she represents the real violence of the outside world that Larch was always trying to shield Homer from. Her showing up again later really pushes Homer out of his comfortable but dishonest routine.
But the ultimate crisis, the one that really tests Homer's ethics, involves his son, Angel.
Angel grows up, becomes a teenager, and he develops a crush on Rose, who is Mr. Rose's daughter.
Then Rose gets pregnant. And the father is Mr. Rose himself.
It's a brutal revelation. Incest, power imbalance, total desperation. It's the exact kind of crisis that drove women to Dr. Larch's door for decades.
So this is it. This is the moment where Homer's long-held principle, his refusal to perform abortions, slams right into an immediate, unavoidable human need.
He can either stick to his moral purity or he can save this young woman.
And that's the crossroads for him. Faced with Rose's situation and seeing the immense harm that will come from doing nothing, he makes a decision.
He performs the abortion for Rose. He uses the skills Dr. Larch taught him all those years ago.
He crosses that personal boundary he's held for his entire life. He finally aligns his actions with Larch's ethics of necessity, not the written law.
Right. And meanwhile, back at St. Cloud's, Dr. Larch is getting old, his addiction is getting worse, but he is still working. And he's totally focused on making sure Homer can succeed him. All that fake documentation is ready to go.
He's been creating this paper trail for years, presenting Dr. Homer Wells as a real person. And then Larch dies.
Which leaves an official vacancy at St. Cloud's, the clear, documented path for Homer to take over.
So he's standing at this huge crossroads. He's been shaped by his life at the orchard, the lie about his son, his relationship with Candy, that terrible decision about Rose, and now he has a formal path back to the orphanage. He can take on the identity Larch created for him and the duty that comes with it.
The end of the book is really about that choice. Does he go back to the world of useful law-breaking, or stay in the world of necessary family lies? We won't spoil the decision, but the question of his identity is the final big argument.
So if you tie it all together, the book is really this deep exploration of law versus your own personal morality.
It's about the ethics of being useful and what it really means to be responsible for other people, especially kids, in a world where the rules and institutions so often fail them.
It leaves you with a really tough question, one that Irving forces on you. If a rule is unjust, or if it's literally unreadable, does following it make you moral?
Or is true morality found only in those exceptions we make for genuine human need? It's something to really think about.
To continue your exploration of these themes, click the link on your screen for our in-depth book critique. And please, subscribe, share this deep dive, and you can purchase the book through the link. And remember to think rationally about these issues.
See the many genre-based book podcasts, add mindful moments. Subscribe and nourish your mind on the go.